are just over a week away from the Queensland State Election, and the advertising hoopla is going into overdrive. Some of it's truthful, some of it's total bullshit, and a lot of it is somewhere in between which people can't work out. Now, some of it on the TV and radio ads, a bit hard to avoid, but they're not as hard to avoid as what I'm about to show you for motorists. Welcome to Advertising Alley. Well, at least that's what I'm going to call it anyway. It's more like political advertising alley. In Rockhampton, the run to the new bridge is going to be, and even off the new bridge, which seems pretty strange to say considering the bridge has been around for nearly 50 years, is going to be filled with such political advertising, and all the Corflutes with all the candidates that are listed on the ballot paper, well, almost all of them. We still have to be fairly careful. We're still in the last throes of the magpie season, and so death from above is always going to be looming large in the spectre of watching myself get attacked. Something like that anyway. Sounds pretty humorous. But here we are. We are on the strip right now. Let's go through them. So we're going southbound at the moment. As you can see, cars heading over the old bridge to heading their way home. But the first two signs we see along here, as we're not going to compete with the truck, belong to David Bond, the One Nation candidate. Now, Bond managed to make a tilt for Rockhampton Council, as it turned out unsuccessfully, in the March elections, I believe they were. And it was very rare for Fair because a lot of the council divisions in Rockhampton were unopposed, so he was one of the rare ones where someone actually had to go out and vote. He's joined the One Nation team. Of course, One Nation in this part of the world get a little more traction than most other parts of Australia. Obviously the regions are the type of area where the majors tend to neglect. They'll say they were focusing on the metro cities where all the seats are. I will say there are some on the other side of the road, but because there's a junior rugby union going on right now, I'm a bit reluctant to film over there. The next one may be of interest to some parties. Now, there have been elections where the Greens have basically refused to run a Corflute campaign because of their environmental concerns that these bring, apparently. I say apparently because, well, I'll let you figure it out for yourself. It's fairly generic. The candidate is a guy called Mick Jones. We may see more of him later. But it's a fairly generic one. It's actually concentrating on policy rather than actually letting us know who the candidate is. In fact, one of them's even double-sided. Trying to save some money. Not that anyone's going to be able to see that side the way it's projected out into the roads. Two of the leading candidates. On the left, Margaret Strelo is the former mayor who ran for the seat.
The 2017 election. Despite polling second in the primary votes, LNP preferences enabled the One Nation candidate to leapfrog her into the final two-party preferred count.
Alongside her, the LNP candidate Donna Kirkland basically runs Ultratune, another former councillor, ran on the council. Not sure if they were on the council at the same time. I think they might have been. But she's been running her campaign. Of course, she's had a mobile campaign going around. A lot of the Liberal campaign LNP candidates in recent times have been using a ute in Warsaw to try and push their message on the road while someone's been driving. There's another Bond booster next up ahead, as you can see down there. There's another Bond booster. Now, some may think she's the favourite, but the presence of Strelo and the presence of Bond and the fact that it's no longer a two-party contest, or even two-candidate contest in this case, means she's got her work cut out to try and appease enough of the public to not only vote for her, but make her a second preference or a third preference. It may sound stupid to say that their preferences are going to count, but I somehow get the feeling that no one candidate is going to get 40% of the vote, let alone 50%, and it's going to be a long and convoluted count. Now, the Greens, it has to be said, in this part of the world, generally don't attract the vote they get in the metro areas. So in seats like South Brisbane, which they hold, like Griffith in the federal sense, they'd hold 30-35% of the vote. They'd be lucky to get 7% of the vote here, a fifth of the vote in this region. So we're now on the other side of the road, as you can see, filming into the sun, so it's going to be a pain in the Butrovsky. But I suppose this is one of the safer times. And now we can see most of the candidates. Of course, we have seen some for the Labor candidate, Gavin Marshall. He's on the other side of the road. But as you can see, well, that sign there is actually a Kirkland sign. So hopefully people have been keeping score. But it's Kirkland in front of them, and then we've got a Strelo sign. Now, behind it, behind the second Strelo sign, we've got two rare sightings. Well, actually, two very rare sightings. There's the Greens candidate, Mick Jones, behind him. Let's have a closer look at him. There's a sign that's already been knocked over. I'm not going to go pick it up. But there's Mick in all his glory. Now, behind him, you may think family first. Is that a Labor Party policy? No. That indeed is a political party. They're back. Yes, they're back. Yes, family first are back in a big way. Indeed, they were planning to field a candidate in every seat in the upcoming state election. They fell just a little bit short though. But they do have a candidate in Rockhampton.
His name is Freddie Johnson. That's Freddie with one D. He's passionate about working with the youth, has studied in economics, and has also worked in security.
For the candidate, low. Probably going to be lucky to get 2% of the vote, I reckon, but that's just me. You never know, there might be enough disenfranchised voters to give him their nod. And indeed, Strelo has also splashed out on electronic advertising, something that's not normally done in this day and age. Now, the ads on this probably appear once a minute, maybe every 5 seconds, once a minute. You can count in the background as it changes. I'll just let you know on another ad. So there's the Knight Frank sign. And it changes over now, about now. So about 10 seconds every, 2 minutes or so, she might be able to see that. Corner advertising can be handy a lot of times, especially if it's in the lunch board pattern. The old-fashioned lunch board. You pull it out, double-sided. That's one on this side. Here's the other. So this is the new Labor candidate trying to hold on to the seat that has been so staunchly Labor. When they were down to 7 seats after 2012, Rockhampton was one of the seats they held. Now we're going a bit backwards in this instance because it's a bit safer, but at the moment I'm facing northbound, coming off the bridge, so there's another Kirkland. And we've got another Bond booster just below the road sign, as you can see, which directs you onto Kershaw Gardens if you're in the wrong lane. There's another sign knocked over. Unlike my federal election case that I filmed a couple of years ago, I'm not going to pick it up just yet. That's probably as big as I've seen a Marshall Corflute at all throughout the entire area. Now, obviously I will go through some of the places where I have been known to plot them on some sort of map of Rockhampton a little later on. Family first, flat on its back. Can't believe they actually found a budget to actually do this. What it says down there, worth fighting for. Yeah, that's probably something that the One Nation candidate probably be looking for. But there's 3 for the Greens. Again, on the other side. Now, I'm not going to go around the other side into the traffic, as you can see, because it's fast-moving traffic. If I had a scooter, I might have been willing to risk it, because that's a bike lane. But as you can see, there's 3 for the Greens, all facing in a direction where it's pretty hard to see. Not quite all along the watchtower, but this is all under the light tower. But this path at least was put in a couple of years ago. It makes it a little bit easier now to move up and down here rather than us having to rely on being on the road. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. There's Marshall again. Marshall seems like he's got the biggest size sign, so she's obviously working on the theory size matters. Keep going underneath the tree. We've got another Strelo booster. Just underneath there. And even further underneath the tree, through the other trees down here. There's another Bond booster. There he is there. And here's one we missed earlier, hidden in the trees. Goes to show that positioning is very crucial. I mean, it's one thing to have a sign up, but to have it really hidden where not many people can see. As you can see, the branches are obscuring half of it, and it's going to be hard to see behind this light pole here for motorists. That takes care of most of what's along the strip. But where else in Rockhampton are these signs located? Well, I haven't got the full list, but on my travels through my marathon training and marathon videos, which will come out soon before the end of the year, here's a slight twist on a list of where I've been able to spot them.
This may not be the easiest map to read, but this is just a small sample of some of the corflutes that I found around my local area. No, I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live. The Labor candidates' corflutes are denoted in the red dots. The orange dots are the One Nation candidate. For the LNP, you look for the blue dots. And the black dots denote Margaret Strelo, the independent. No flutes for any other candidate were found in this particular area. Note that I've also left out those that we've seen earlier in the recording, which are those who are located on Moores Creek Road. But looking at one area would just be too easy. So here's a few observations on my travels down Glenmore Road and on the south side of Rockhampton.
Did mention earlier that positioning was very crucial. Well, it's one thing to put a sign like this on the fence, on a bridge, but I don't think very many motorists are going to be able to see it, considering where it's positioned. Further down Glenmore Road than the earlier map, a couple of Kirkland signs have popped up on the corner near the traffic lights, as well as the existing one that was across the road. And a little further down, and this is fairly handy for the candidates considering the nearby primary school, which is just to my right in the next street, is a prominent polling booth on election day, so that might be helpful. Now I've got a bit of reinforcement on this big one, so that's obviously a Marshall one, so because of the size. So many more have sprouted up on my travels even in the week that I wasn't here. Well, I guess Marshall now no longer has the mortgage on the big signs. However, it has to be said that I don't consider that size sign a corflute itself, even though it may be made from the same material. That's probably closer to stock standard advertising sign. As we saw with Kirkland, double-sided advertising is important these days. There's Bond boosters on either side of Glenmore Road here, both in reasonably good view of drivers. Feels like a bit of a rarity. A lot of the time it's the Labor candidate who's parked next to the One Nation guy, but for this instance we've got two Kirklands on one corner alongside a One Nation. Yeah, another sign made out of corflutes, but again, something that size you're bordering on an actual sign rather than normal corflute. Obvious that this part of town, well, it's on the north side again. This is another Kirkland booster. Signs on the light pole and the fence. So, busy intersection, as you may have just seen, a few cars passing, but also prime position, not just for businesses, but in this instance, for corflutes to make their appearance. So here's a Bond booster right behind me. I'm at intersection where there's Glenmore School, which is another polling place on next Saturday. We'll just cross the road now. It is getting rather dark, so as you can tell, night is falling. Behind me, you may see two corflutes. One's for Kirkland, but the other's for David Crisafulli, the LNP leader. Crisafulli is the on this side, the one on the left-hand side.
It is unlikely that we will see a Corflute in public for this candidate, Jacinta Waller, who's 22, by far the youngest candidate in the field of 7. Fortunately, the Legalised Cannabis Party website has this in order to be some sort of a replacement.
At the end of the day, all the candidates are here for one thing, to succeed this man as the member for Rockhampton.